Hello everyone. How about some clapping for the start of the stream? Oh, wait. This changes every time we do this. I think it's this one. Do it better this time? Do it better this time? Nope. I guessed wrong. How about this one? Oh, that one's much better, but we're going to start it over for a third time. Third time's the charm. We need lots of clapping for the start of our stream. Yes, that is much better. So, I don't usually do evening streams, as you probably all know. Welcome to the stream, by the way. But I have a couple I need to get done, and I just happened to have a free evening, so I thought I would spend some of it with you all, and we're going to take a look at the Biqu BX. I really want to keep saying B1, but it's the BX. So if you don't know the BX, it is Biqu's Kickstarter. They did send one over. The Kickstarter information is in the description if you want to check it out. I believe it is a 250Q build volume i3 style machine. It has a few different things about it that are a little unusual, or a plus if you want to say that. I believe it has a 7-inch screen. You can integrate a Raspberry Pi to have onboard Octoprint. It has a direct drive extruder that's supposed to be very lightweight. So you know what we're going to do here. There's all these people in chat, but this is how it goes, correct? If you haven't been to the stream before, we are going to open the box. We are going to try to get it assembled. Do it the best we can. Hopefully there is no troubleshooting. It just goes together and everything just works. And we are going to do a test print. And during the test print portion, we can hang out and chat a little bit more about whatever you would like. Well, not whatever you'd like, but anything 3D printer related that you would like. So that's how we're going to do it.
On the mic is the king. Listen to him sing. Black t-shirt, ponytail, printer things.
I like that it went t-shirt. That's awesome. Jimmy Sanchez, thank you very much for the $25. That is much appreciated. That is Jimmy from NASA, our good buddy. Thank you. So, Tom is here, and he is already asking me to take things apart. Chris Galati, yes, another Kickstarter. We've got all kinds of stuff. From another Chris, I rock, you rock. So hello to everyone in chat. I know I saw a couple of friendly faces, but Jim Sellers is here. I already mentioned Tom and Jimmy, Chris Galata, Logan. We will talk. Bryce Swartzeller is here. We will talk all throughout the stream, I am sure. But let's have a peek at what might be in the box. You know, I just noticed that the camera that I use on the ceiling doesn't work. Did it get unplugged? If I plug in USB things, you know things are going to crash. That's just how it works. Oh, I can see I have my friend electrical tape on that. I wonder if it's broken. Broken? Let's plug it in and see what happens. It wouldn't be a stream if there wasn't at least a little bit of technical difficulty. Yeah, it does not recognize the camera on the ceiling anymore. Well, that is a bummer. It's just too much for it. I should actually switch to I should switch the camera over while I'm doing this, and it can be like a troubleshooting session. Focusrite, human interface imaging devices. That's what I'm looking for. It says it is there. Let's try this real quick. Let's see if we can get this to work. Wait. Hey, it works now. Not that it's a great camera anyway, but it's better than nothing. So let's do one of those. There we go. At least you can see firsthand what's in the box. Jim, thank you very much for the $5. That is much appreciated, my friend. Never let the machines win. Mike is here. What is up? Andrew, good morning. I put a time zone map, by the way, in the description so people could tell what time zone I was going to start. I kind of figured we'd hit some people that we probably didn't hit usually. Maybe some of our Australian friends and such. So that's cool. Please stand by. Yeah, I noticed Twitter wasn't doing its thing very well a couple hours ago. So I don't know what's up with that. After service card. A nice labeled Biqu box. I was thinking of this earlier, and we can talk about it more, but I should really start doing ads for Biqu. But the first thing that I thought of was Biqu, the big tree tech people. And then you could do like a whimsical, what? And I think that'd be a great commercial. I think they should put that together and just do it exactly how I did it and put it on every one of their videos. And I'm sure that would sell things for sure. Tools, we got cords, zips, ties. We do have a USB drive, it looks like. All the keys. Another pair of snips. Spool holder. We have the extruder. And it has auto bed leveling. So it's got a little inductive probe. That's cool. Oh boy. Oh boy. You said you wanted me to take this apart, huh? This looks awful like another extruder that I know that starts with a he and ends with a mera. It's a little smaller than that. Let's talk about that a little bit more here in a moment. Let's continue on. Ooh, there's the most important thing that we got. Tinkerbox 3D 50. Thank you ever so much. That is much appreciated. 9:37 a.m. in OZ. Excellent. Does the duck push down on the what? The ducks. I just held a duck and I read that duck. I don't know. I did get a duck. Take the duck to bath. I could probably fill the bathtub as many of these ducks as I have. The cat keeps stealing them, Sean. I totally get that. All right, let's get the rest of the stuff out of the box here, and then we'll make decisions on what we want to mess with. That appears to be carbon fiber. It really looks like it. I don't know if it actually is. It's got a carbon fiber pattern on it anyway. So we got some screws. A couple different sizes here. Some big long ones. A nozzle. What's in the Biqu box? Oh, there you go. Bounce, wow, wow. There's your screen. And like I was saying, they have you can put they've got this alternate power supply you can throw on here. I just saw some pictures. I'm guessing that's what that is. And then you can interface with it with your Octoprint. They have their own image that they use. I'm not going to be doing that today, but you will see that at some time on the channel. I promise you. What else is this? Okay, so they've got inputs for Pi 4 and Pi 3. So that's good that they got you covered on that. Because HDMI connections on those are different. What's the build volume? It is 250 cubed. 250 all around the house. We have a sample of PLA. Phew! Heated bed, we do get a sheet. This is like the mid-grade sheet. I've seen one that was super thin. I've seen one that was a little thick. This is the thicker of the two. So that's cool. And what we got here? Just what do we have here? Very interesting. It is 2 lead screw. That's good. That's way. Oh, it's got LEDs on the gantry already. Those are the good old 4-start screws that you see pretty much everywhere. It looks pretty nice. It's got a big X on it. What is this? Guess that's just an extra added stop. It's just like a carbon fiber-ish pattern on the extrusion. I don't know. Looks kind of cool. Hey, what is up, Sergio? HVA A to Z. Another big thanks to Sergio. If you didn't watch, what is today? Thursday. Yesterday's video. He provided the kit that I tested for that. Sergio is just a good guy. What else we got? Parts of the spool holder. So I did look at the Kickstarter when I put the link in the video. These are packed really well. They put foam underneath the bed screws and things. It was very common to get printers with the bed screws, laying in the box because they came out during shipping. So that's cool. They're not 3D printed, they are injection molded. I did look at the Kickstarter when I was putting together the link. They have all kinds of different tiers, and I'm not sure what some of the add-ons are. The lowest price that I saw was $309. So take that for what it's worth. Read the Kickstarter. If you're backing one, read the Kickstarter well. Make sure you're getting what you expect. Because I did notice there was many different features and price points that you could pay. There was even one like you could buy, they called it like a family pack. You could get 4 or something like that. So take that for what it is. I see no paperwork. I mean, I could wing it, but BQ probably wouldn't want me to wing it that much. Tom, you don't have any clue how much I actually meant that. I have had my go-arounds with multi-material the last 2 months or so, and I am kind of done with multi-material for a while. It's just, and if you were doing it just to do it, it wouldn't be so bad, but every failure that I have, or every time I have to mess with it, it lengthens the lead time for the video content. And it's just, come on, I need you to finish this time, please! And you're begging and crying at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the printer just won't do what you want it to do. It's terrible. And there's nothing on the SD card. I really want to look at this. Yeah. It's got like a squirrel cage fan in there. Definitely some sort of SKR board. There's a Meanwell power supply. 350/24. Pretty common. So there you go. Okay, so what do we want to do here? BQ equipment. So we're going to make some general guesses. I could probably go to their site and get a manual of some kind. Oh, it's got like an HDMI cable right in there. Cool. But I also could probably manage to get it assembled without too much of an issue. We have so many people in chat. The 3D Print Viking is here. What is up? This gantry is, I don't know, it feels really, it doesn't have an extruder on it. That's why it feels so light. So, how's everyone else's week going? Mine's been really hectic, it seems like. This does have 0.9 degree steppers. At least there's a tag on the Z that says 0.9 on it. We'll have to look at the other ones too. Dan is here. What's up? Russell. Keith, the developers, or Keith, yeah. No, this is Keith. Those are two different people. Keith, do you have, I know, whatever. Do you have one of these, already? Oh, Jerry at 3D Printing and Painting is here. What's up, Jerry? Oh, your BX should ship today. Okay. Excellent. Chris Warkaki is here. He's having a game night, I guess. Someone please go play games with Chris Warkaki. I'm sure it is a great time. So I saw that Angus had a stream build for this guy, this BX printer. And I went looking for it, and maybe I just missed it, or I couldn't find it, or I've been known to lose things. But I did not see it posted on YouTube any longer. I don't know if anybody knows if that is the case, but I sure could not locate it. Spare screws. Step 3. There are no steps here. Step 2. I want to make sure I didn't miss a piece of paper or something. They did tell me one thing about these that are going to be different than the Kickstarter, the ones you might get on the Kickstarter. What was that they told me? I love it that YouTube tells you when something is live on your own channel. They said watch out, the interface might be Chinese. The display on the printer is a previous version. The stretch goal people should get the final version. I'm not sure what stretch goal means. So the display is going to be a bit different. It doesn't look like 3-mode, one-click switch. Doesn't look like it's going to be huge, but they implemented some more features after the fact. So there you go. But I do want to make sure that I didn't miss anything that I was supposed to tell you. This looks like all videos and such. So it looks okay. It looks like I got everything. I just want to make sure, because it is a Kickstarter, and you know how things are, Kickstarter, if you buy one, you don't buy one, it's not really a buy, right? You don't necessarily have to make good on that. So, Llama, I would love to take this apart for you, but it doesn't really look like that's going to be an easy task. Because I think the PCB on the back will prevent us from doing so. And I don't know the brake and everything comes all one piece. So I probably shouldn't break it right out of the gate. Just saying. The stretch goal is I come over and help you install it. Now that would be a stretch goal. That is for sure. But honestly though, if they only paid what YouTube paid me for this stuff, they'd be getting a steal. Jesse Foreman is here. I haven't seen Jesse Foreman in a little bit. Absolutely, carbon fiber accents increase print speed. As much as 15%, I've heard. From Slovakia? Hello. I always love to see where people are from. Screw is so small I can't get my fingers in there to turn it.
I wanted to thank you for all the MMU2 videos. So, thanks, they've helped.
Boy, it kind of botched that one. Verge, $10. Thank you very much. I'm glad the MMU videos have helped. Hopefully, my goal was for some of those to get, because I've heard so many people say my MMU2 never worked. So my goal was to maybe try to bridge that gap a bit. Because they are really cool. I mean, when they work, they're pretty awesome. But they are sometimes a real pain. It is on the Twitter, so I'm guessing it is public knowledge. I don't know if Shane is from Malaysia. Justin, got one from Quebec. I don't know if Shane is in the chat or listening or anything like that. But you know him currently as same old Shane. Well, he used to be Shane from Prussia on the Twitters and such. Shane has been a friend of mine for quite a few years. And when he did work for Prussia, I would hassle him a lot on chats and such. So that was a good time. And I was sorry that he left Prussia. You know, you got to do what you got to do in business, right? But the good news is he's back at Prussia. So once again, he is Shane from Prussia. He was doing chat support you know, at night, things like that. Now I believe he is in some sort of community role where he's like helping with the forum. Maybe he's creating a little content here and there, things like that. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see that Prussia has picked him back up because he's an awesome dude. And Prussia should be glad to have him just as much as Shane is going to work for a pretty awesome company. So congrats, Shane. George from Detroit. That's right. What's up, George? We get one extra. DIY printer from scratch. That's always fun. So I get some. Those are all my spares. What? It does have some extra. Like they do give you mounting holes on the front. It doesn't. It looks like the duct will clear. Tom, you said something about the duct crashing into the bed, something like that. They do have a little. They do give you some tensioning knobs for your belts. That's cool.
Click like.
Andy, thank you very much for the 3. And he wants you to click like. Click like crazy. Glenn is here. Glenn with 1 N from Alabama. What's up, Glenn? V-slot or linear rails on the x-axis? Well, if you got a printer that's all set up nice and fantastic and has tight tolerances and all that good stuff, then linear rails going to be pretty hard to beat. But if you don't have said tight tolerances, linear rails could make things way worse. So V-slot would be the way to go. A really smooth linear rail is kind of the bee's knees. But again, everything else has to match that nice smooth linear rail, or you might have problems. So that's my take on that. Plus, I'm guessing a piece of extrusion and some V-slot wheels are probably, you know, a quarter the cost of said rail. So there's really not much to this assembly. I do hope that you get directions with yours. I'm sure that you will. I don't know how early of a unit this was. I have had it for a few days. But there's really not a whole lot to it. Put your extruder on, put your gantry on, put your screen on, and then cats. We'll have a few things to plug in, but it's not that big a deal. They do have the power. I should switch over here because you're probably not getting a whole lot out of that thing anyway. That's not it. I really need to clean my scenes up. I've got way too many. They do have the power receptacle right in the side of the extrusion there. All right. The wires seem to be well marked. We have one for an RGB. So, I was thinking the other day, and while I was thinking, I was swearing. And that happens. And really, we need to form some sort of, I don't know, what do you want to call it? I don't know. Some sort of group that sets standards for 3D printing stuff. You know, some sort of worldwide organization where we can agree on things. Because how many types of connectors do I need to fix 3D printers? Really? Everything from however many letters and numbers of JST and pitch there are, to DuPont connectors, to whatever they call that one that Prusa uses. It is a JST type, but I don't remember the number. Then you have Molex microfits, a couple of different types of Molex connectors. I mean, come on now. And they all have different pin sizes, too. So being able to troubleshoot something like that, or you know, just make a repair without cutting it off and soldering the wires, is just madness. It's clown shoes, really. So we need to work that out. We need to call some of these companies and say, what's up with this? Please pick one, use it. It'll be fine. I don't care how difficult the connector is. Just all have the same one. I'll deal with it. So there's my connector rant for today. You will, if you watch these things, these streams or my Patreon streams or whatever, I'm usually probably complaining about some sort of connector. So it's not that unusual. Okay, so we have an HDMI doo-doo-doo, but this is for your extruder housing to make it like swappable. So it's actually we saw HDMI on another thing, didn't we? Wasn't there another printer that they did this? Was it the B1? I don't remember now. I remember we've talked about that though. I think that's it. Oh, there's another SD card. Oh, this is for the board though. This is the SD card for the board, but I still want to see what's on it. That's what it was. Keith, thank you. Yes, it was the USB-C one. That's the one I was thinking of. It wasn't HDMI. It was the USB-C one. So this just has 2 G codes on it. And my Kathy O'Malley, one of our Australian Twitter friends, said, "Don't print that G code." So I'll believe her. Something about it being a coaster or something. I wasn't quite sure what we were talking about. Good call. I already lost a foot. It is 1:15, so that's awesome. No, it's not. It's 7 something something. Anyway, that's it. Let's see what happens. Back out a bit. It was a very easy assembly. Down is off. That's also one thing that I will rant about occasionally. I like to see the switches that go down, because down is supposed to be off. BQ. It made a. I was just getting ready to say it really should make a sound. It's telling me things. SD card's okay. Bed leveling on. Fade height off. Stored settings retrieve. So it reloaded EEPROM, or it reloaded the standard default firmware settings when it came up. So that's cool. It's your standard. I mean, the icons are a little bit different than the unified that you see on these screens, but it's going to be just a nightmare for me to show you anything that doesn't have glare on it. So there you go. It is a little bit different style, but similar. Please tell me it's a touchscreen. I was going to say, they said I should be able to go to Marlin mode. It just rebooted. So maybe this is why they reworked the screen. I want to try that again. That's okay. I get it. I get it. I get jokes. See what happens when we load a file on it. Did it know what that was? Hello? It reboots every time I go to that screen. Yeah, it doesn't. So it will let me select with the knob. Let me make sure that I can see exactly what's going on here. It will let me select with the knob if I go to the main screen. But it gives me nothing on the touch side, which it shouldn't, I don't think. There's no film on it or anything. Well, that's not good. I think anytime, though, that I go to this main screen, it's going to, let's just let it set here for a second before yeah. So anytime I go to the main screen, it just reboots. Yeah. It does all of its checks and everything. I mean, it can't be that I've got the cable off. So the cable isn't keyed, it's just multiple pins. They do give you some paint to tell you which way it goes. But it's not like it's that far enough off where I could have it in the wrong spot. I'm pretty sure all of this stuff is just for Raspberry Pi mode. Pretty sure. So there's that. Well, I mean, we could still get a printout, but that really kind of defeats the purpose, don't you think? I mean, we could try receiving the cable, but I don't know that that's going to buy us anything. I mean, we should try a bunch of stuff. That's true. We should try to make it work. But the fact that it goes to Marlin mode and then crashes, or it goes out to the main screen. It's not even Marlin mode. It's just the main screen that makes it crash. Like I say, the fact that it comes on makes me pretty confident that the cable is located correctly. Seems like I try to hit these without looking at them about 10 times a day, and I never do. What's up, Dave Randolph? Big Tree Tech is in the chat. Yes, I just pulled it out and reseeded it. Let's see what it does this time. Update the firmware. And it crashed. I will do one more time, though. I will even pull the screen off of the front of the printer and check the plug one more time. I will be diligent. I'll even check to see if we have any loose pens. I don't want to grab the wires to pull that out, though, because there are a lot of them. Can't check them all, but I can at least make sure there's nothing obvious. There's nothing bent or anything like that. The cable is firmly seated. Needs oil. It's getting all the info, like it reads the thermistors and everything like that. It is telling me all of the updates and whatnot. So it's somewhat functioning. You know, I would go the route that maybe like there's an invalid touch, like it's being triggered, but you can move around on it with the selector. There is a little piece of the original plastic down here in the corner that maybe I can get out of there. I need to find a pair of pliers or some tweezers that I haven't bent to complete whatever's words. Remember, that's why they didn't take it out of there, is because it's really hard to get out. Teresa is here. I haven't seen you in a while, Teresa. Welcome to the stream. I cannot get that out of there. I don't have anything small enough to grip it. Well, at the very least, it is off the screen. I'd cut it with a razor, but that would make things worse. I don't think that's what's causing it, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, do that. uh, it actually tried to go to Marlin mode that time before it rebooted, but I think it was just because I was fast. I don't know. Oh, wait, it came back in Marlin mode. Or kind of like Marlin mode. Ooh, I can turn the lights on. I wonder if we can run it in that mode long enough to print something. It's moving. The homing is fairly slow. It still crashes with the SD card removed, yes. It crashed before I put that in there. It's a dexterity test. I failed. We'll just calmly put this back on here for now. I think it's the touch portion that is causing us a problem. It kind of acts like it thinks it's always got something triggered. And when we got into Marlin mode, it allowed us to use it. Because there is no touch over there. Well, there might be now that... What are the chances that baby stepping is available on this firmware config? Winsome Filament. Today we are going to be sporting printed solid Jesse PLA blood red glitter. I think last time we did green slime, and that was one of the choices that we had, was either green slime or that one. So we're going to do this one this time. They got LEDs, they gotta have baby stepping. I hope so. It'd be nice. I'll hedge my bet. I don't have any Brad filament yet. Do they offer you a coupler for this? No. I don't have any Brad filament yet, but I need to get me some. Are temperatures going up? What can you still see? Anything? 22, 24, yes, they're going up. If you remember, if you were around when we did the B1, we did not have a successful print because it fell off the sheet before it was done. I'd say we probably made it like 75% if I remember correctly. So we're going to give this one extra smush if we have the opportunity to. I was around for Virtual Earth. I watched quite a few of the things. I was not in the Discord. I like it. It turns red when it's up to temp. We'll wait for the bed another moment. Ooh, benchies. No, yay, benchies. Glenn's got a spool. I had one on. What do we need? Orange is kind of, There you go, indigo. Ooh, violet. We'll keep it on violet. You probably, with all the light in here, you're not going to be able to tell anything. We'll switch the camera around and look at all kinds of good stuff after we get printing. Okay. So we are more than enough to do such and such. I want to run a bed level sequence real quick. Make sure everything's straight. I'm going to guess that is 25-point leveling. Oh, it says it on the screen. 25-point leveling. Can you watch movies while it prints? After we get the Raspberry Pi on, I don't see why not. Maybe that will be a nice video for us to make. Watching movies while it prints. Brad is so smart. If I would be more than willing to let Brad have as many tries at fixing any of the printer problems that I have, because that would be excellent. Brad would be the most awesome assistant. Or I could assist him. Whichever worked better. I'm for it. Watch the live feed on the screen. Now that's really what I would be interested in. If I could put a camera here and then watch the screen instead of watching the print, then that would be the ultimate in redundancy that I would really enjoy. So I'm happy. So it heats. Touchscreen didn't go so well. It heats, it levels, it homes. The only thing I'm really hoping for now is that we can live adjust the first layer. And if we can, then we should be successful. We should have a good day. That's what we need. We need a endoscope, and that what they call it, endoscope camera. I got one of those somewhere. It doesn't focus quite right. It doesn't focus close enough to the nozzle. Like it needs to be. I don't know. The distance just isn't quite right. I need a little higher grade one where I can give it a little bit of twist or something to make it focus a little better. Because the view of the first layer on those is amazing, but mine is just a little bit blurry. So I need to find a little better camera. Also, I was talking to somebody not too long ago about those things, and they said they were having a hard time finding one that worked well with Octoprint, because it would be really cool to have the multicam set up where you had both side by side, you know, general view and then the first layer. But somebody said that they were having a hard time finding drivers or something that worked with Octoprint well. So that's also a hurdle that would be interesting to jump over. Okay, hold on. Let's see how this thing's going to go. I do like the custom sock they gave us there. And this is my own G code, so it should have some sort of prime line somewhere close to where it should be. It is doing the auto level. It's good though. BQ, Big Tree Tech, all the stuff that they have, it's all Marlin based. So I know what to expect a little better than I do some of the other ones. Finding the one that's not semi-rigid. Yes, that would be a much better find if you could find something that, you know, in like the flex form factor. Good point. Teresa giggles at semi-rigid. Yes, but the funny. It was on the G-Tech video that we did. I don't know what, a couple weeks ago or whenever it was, the 3D printer fix up. When I when I put together the extruder, you know, the old Mark 8 extruders. Some of them, they had just the barrel that was all thread, so they would give you slim nuts to put on the hot end, and then on the top, instead of using a set screw to mount it, you'd nut it up so that it was tight. And I said, then you put on these nuts. And I've gotten like 10 comments on that video of just people time stamping when I say that and then laughing. And I thought about it when I said it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get comments on this one. And sure enough, the YouTube community did not let me down. It was funny either way, though. Chrome door edges. Okay, so here's what I'm wanting to know. How are we doing? It's not bad. Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice work, BQ. We want lots of squish. They do it in thousandths, so it might look like I'm really hammering down on it. If it's actually doing what I want it to do. It's doing it way late. Let it recover for a second. That looks pretty good. Like I said, I definitely want it to stick this time. Alright, so let's try one more time. Now that I'm more confident in the Z height. See how we do. I have to say though, a lot of these, you get them that need just a few fine adjustments on the bed and on the carriage. This one didn't. It's pretty solid right out of the box. I guess I can take this tape off now. How much difference will dual Z-rods make?
Thank you for being awesome.
Dan, thank you very much for the $5. It's much appreciated. You're awesome. He says they're using individual Z stepper drivers. So that's good. How much difference will the dual Z rods make? Well, so as far as print quality and things, you can make the one Z motor rod, all that stuff. You can make it work. You usually end up with just a little bit of tilt because you're holding weight out there. But with the extrusions, and if the wheels are set just right on the extrusions are nice and straight, all that good stuff, it's not going to affect you too much. The two Z motors, personally, I think it's going to give you a little bit more reliability, and maybe in the end, just a little bit more longevity, because you don't necessarily have to have it set and have that weight loaded out there on the right side. Plus, you don't have to make any changes for that allowance. So, meaning if there's only one Z rod, you don't. So you might end up leveling the. You can still get the bed level to the nozzle, but you might end up with the bed just a little bit of sag on the right, leveling it that way. You might not even be able to see it or notice it, but it's still there. With the 2Zs, you have more versatility because then you can actually make them square. You know that they will be square. The Z motors should hold them. Maybe not necessarily when you turn it off every time, but it should hold them in place. We could get into a really long-winded conversation about lead screws, but these are TR 8x8 screws. They have 4 starts, so they move really quickly. Every revolution is 8 millimeter. If you had a finer pitch screw, or not even necessarily finer pitch, fewer starts in our case for the most part, you can't backfeed them. So when the motor, you can't backfeed them as easily. So when the motor current goes off, they're going to stay in place. So that's just, again, that's more information than is needed about this printer, but those are some things that you kind of want to consider when you're looking at when you're thinking about 1 screw versus 2 versus what kind of screws they have. Probably too much info, but hey. All right. See, now it didn't agree with my baby stepping. Yes, it didn't save it from print to print. So this isn't Z probe. This isn't Z probe offset, I'm guessing. Because the Z sensor is pretty much hitting the bed. I don't think it's ever going to stick that way. See if it actually does move a bit. No, I don't think they should have added VL Touch. I do prefer the inductive sensor. I mean, I don't think this is going to fly. I think we're going to end up with another unstuck Benchy by the time this stream is over. Let's do this one more time. I know I am tired of watching it level. Go faster. One. That wasn't going to make it a whole print. So I've got the bed set at 60 on this print. I think what we're going to do, I adjusted the probe offset to add in the baby stuffing that I was doing, so that'll stay permanent during the print. And then we'll bump up, after it starts, we'll bump up the bed temp a couple of degrees, see if we can get it to stick. Travis Stamper, thank you. You're awesome. And I hope that we all get to meet again in person as soon as possible. Victor, thank you very much for the sub. Tell you what, I had some really spicy jalapeno chips this afternoon. I'm totally regretting that decision now, but they were really tasty. You can just feel it right in here. Victor is a TFT card wizard. Awesome. Well, good on you, Victor. Thank you for all you do. As you, Keith, thanks for developing the good stuff. What size bed? This is 250 all around the house. 250 cubed. People do complain a lot that I tap on things, but hey, what are you gonna do? To make James, absolutely. The probe is gonna have to be just a bit faster. Cost, so the cheapest that I saw on the Kickstarter was $309. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. The link to the Kickstarter is in the description. It is quiet. Very quiet. Gordon, thank you for the sub. How many ducks do I have now? My wife collects all the ducks. She has them lined up on one of her cabinets. I don't know, probably 20 maybe? 20, let's say. What drivers do they use? I don't know, maybe Keith knows. I would bet they're either 2208s or 2209s. Kevin Schofield is here. What's up, Kevin? It's the quiet ones that get you. It still doesn't lay that down like it should. I don't think that's ever going to stick. Devin, thank you. Jan, Hardick, thank you all for the subs. Worst mini games. You bet, Bruce. Not happening. It's just winding Filament up around itself now. Man, I really don't want to watch that leveling sequence one more time. I don't think it's taking the Z adjustments. Plus the probe is all the way on the bed. Now I'm trying to see if it will go higher. It does go higher.
More ducks or benchies?
Oh, Chris Lane, thank you very much for the 5. Way more benchies than ducks. It's so crunchy. It's only benchies need to be benchies need to be bigger so I can poke them more while they're printing. Well, I really don't want to set that up again, honestly. So they've got a probe offset set at 123. I also noticed that the extruder housing moves just a bit when it does Z-hop. So here's the first thing I want to know. Now we have to go into troubleshooting, and I can't watch the chat while I look at things. Okay, so it's Z-homing with a switch. I didn't realize that. I should have realized that because it didn't safe home. So let's see if we can go old school on it for a second. At least we won't have to watch the leveling sequence. I don't know that it'll actually get that high, but let's try. What am I doing wrong if there's no build or... So the first thing, just make sure you have the Platform IO plugin. Make sure that's looking all right. And then secondly, make sure you have the right folder added. you need to make sure that you added the folder that contains the Marlin folder. A lot of times when you download it, there'll be one above it after you extract it. So make sure you have the correct folder in there as well. Those are the two most common things I see. Yes, we'll have to pull G29 out real quick. We can do that. If the bed gets high enough to do this. What size are those? These are a pain to get to. Well, they tightened it up, that's for sure. Is there anywhere where that is actually off the bed? The Z probe is bottoming out before the nozzle is. This is going to have to be changed anyway, because it was way too low. Hopefully it is still triggering after I raise it to the appropriate height. I knocked on wood and everything when I said hopefully I wouldn't have the troubleshoot. I haven't been burned yet. That's good. Going down to the folder, got it. Awesome. Yeah, that's a real common one. Sometimes I do that still. So, no big deal. Glad we got it. We fixed something. Come on. I got just enough filament under there to make this painful. There we go. So if you don't get enough of Chris's Basement live stream tonight, there will be more of this Saturday morning, afternoon-ish. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so I'm going to take my G29 out of my G-code real quick. And it's not that the auto leveling didn't work. It's that I think it's going to be faster to go manual mode than it is for me to troubleshoot Z heights and offsets and such. And this way, I can adjust it on the fly if I need to. That's bigger sheet size. Well, then I can't get it around to things. Tom always has these great ideas about bigger pieces of paper and less tabs on your browser and don't leave the razor knife open, which it's open over there, by the way. Where were you on that one? It sure can be. Settle during shipping, that very well could be. It is kind of a removable housing-ish thing, so they're somewhat generically set, I'm sure. John Mack, what's up, John? It is an awesome knife, though, even though it's constantly open. It is a pretty sweet knife, I have to say. Tom Llama did make me this knife. It sits right there. Oh, it's got sensorless homing. That's one thing about sensorless homing. You can't clean up the bed very well if it's trying to home. Like the good old days. Well, we definitely started with lots of squish like I wanted to. But it's gonna stick, I'll bet. So we have a few things to look at. Doing it live, that's right. I did not stick the pie on there. That is for a completely different day. Big Tree Tech is back in the chat. What's up? I believe the Kickstarter was like 309 or something like that. The part fan get kick on, so that's a good sign. This is the Z-Hop I usually use. I usually use for an i3 Cartesian style. Direct drive, I'll somewhere retract around 0.6, 0.8, depending. This one is set to 0.8, I believe. And I do 0.6 a hop. So a lot of times they use a switch to Z, and then you don't have to safe home. So you don't have to worry about, you still can home in 0, 0, 0. So you don't have to run into, you don't have to run to the center or anything like that to home. So they'll just keep the switch and let you level with the probe. Andrew, that's fine. But now you got a nap and you're good to go. It is a Prusa slicer. Any tips on how to properly set Z-hop values? I don't really know that there is a rhyme or reason to Z-hop. Z-hop is more about how much confidence you have in your machine, basically. Are you pretty sure that it's accurate in Z? Are you confident that you're getting the steps that you intend? Because that's usually where you run into issues and where Z-hop helps. Z-hop can introduce stringing, remember that. But also, if you get to, say, layer 300 on your print, and maybe you don't print that high a lot. Maybe at that height, you're not as confident in your printer. Well, you're printing at a 0.2 layer height. If you Z-hop to 6, you are definitely going to be out of range in case there might be a bit of inconsistency or collision. It's better to finish the print than to and have a little bit of maybe don't look so good than it is to crash the print and waste all of that time. So I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. You don't want to do too much. Don't get crazy with it. But just whatever you're comfortable with the tolerances of your Z.
Smash that like, show the love slightly smiling face.
You have to mod a kid's chat room. There'll be over 60,000 kids over the next 3 days. Andrew, I'm so sorry. Paul McDonald, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. Rue Raptors here, what's up? There's definitely a little bit of work to do here. We have Big Tree Tech and BQ 3D Printer in the chat. Welcome. Worldwide scouting event. Right on. Well, good on you. Catching up on chat. Tony, we will definitely look at all that good stuff. We won't do it this live stream, but we will. I promise you. Make a DIY dolly that can be moved with octolefts. That would be a good tutorial. Somebody needs to jump on that. A 240 build plate. Not right offhand. What are my thoughts on the HDMI cable? I kind of like the HDMI cable, actually. They're a tight fit. They have a lot of connectors. That's a pretty small stepper. Just with the stuff that it's supporting, I don't really see any problems with it. I kind of like it. Jay, that's probably a great idea. This one in the bezel. So there's a bezel for the screen by default, right? And then it's setting in a bezel. So the bezel for the screen is actually not being touched by the case, but we should definitely pull it out just to make sure that's not an issue. Can it handle the power draw from the hot end? I'm guessing so. I mean, at 24 volt, I don't think it would be much of an issue. Ricky Tanner, what's up, man? Did we have any don't break moments? No, they were all fix moments. Yeah, we will definitely need some sort of strain relief, as Tom says, and a way to keep it from getting smashed. So we need to figure out something for that. Steven, thank you very much for the sub. Somebody asked me another question, and now I can't remember what it was. What filament do I recommend? Okay, so a big part of that is where do you live? Because I live in the US, so that's kind of what I gravitate towards, because filament is heavy and hard to ship. So I can only really answer coming from the United States. Now, there are some international brands that I prefer that you can get anywhere, but they are expensive to ship to me, but I still use them. So if super high-end, super accurate, lots of different cool colors, I really like Prusament and Filamentum. Those are my two favorites. Now, Prusament, you have to get straight from the factory. There are no resellers, so you have to pay a premium. So I don't buy a ton of it because the shipping is kind of expensive. I buy, 20 rolls a year, let's say. Maybe a little more than that. Filamentum, however, I do most of my, if I can, I do most of my business with printed solid. And that they're here in the US. They carry Filamentum in all the colors. So I like them. But everyday average stuff, and even some high-end stuff like this that has glitter in it and all that good stuff, they make Jessie PLA, which is an everyday PLA you can use all the time. It's very affordable. If you order over 45 bucks, the shipping is free. It's really good stuff. I have no issues with it, and it comes with they have like 43 colors right now, so I use that stuff. So those are my choices. There are a lot of other great filaments out there. I've been for PETG. PETG I really like Prusament, but again, same Prusament problem with the shipping and all. But I've been buying giant spools, and now I want to make sure I get the name right. I want to say it's Polymaker, but let me confirm that for you real quick. No, I'm totally wrong. It's ColorFab. I've been using these. It's their more affordable end of filament from ColorFab. You can also get these from Printed Solid. You can get the 5-pound spool for $60, I want to say. Really good stuff, though, especially if you run a lot of PETG and you don't want to mess with the spool. So there you go. Those are my choices. Gary, thank you very much for the $20. That is much appreciated. Amazon does sell Prusa now. I have a hard time finding it when it's not out of stock. And I don't know that they carry all the colors yet, but I could be wrong. 43 and growing. Excellent. Any good filament in Australia? Teresa was on here. Maybe she knows. We'd have to ask Angus or JT or somebody. I do not. Blood Red Glitter, that's where it's at. How hot does the ARM processor get on a printer board? Keith might be able to answer that. I don't know that I've ever seen them over about 45C. I think that's probably the top temp that I've ever seen on an ARM. Fiberology has a nice PETG. Excellent. Oh, I forgot about Michael. Michael would know a good filament. $70. That's pretty high for some Prusa. Atomic PETG CF. I've experienced the parts, never printed with it much, but I hear a lot of people dig that stuff. I have bought Prusa on Amazon from Prusa, but that's been a long time. I don't know how long it's been since. I'm sure there are lots of scalpers on Amazon that do that. Don't get me wrong, but it's been a long time, and they sell out quick. Brandon, I'm good. How are you? Tips for calculating high-speed linear advance. Well, linear advance, it's not. I mean, configuring that is not going to affect your speed at all. I mean, you don't. It's not really going to matter what speed you pick in the calculator. There are a couple different ways of tuning linear advance. The calculator works good. You can go and lay down the lines and make it granular and all that, but also you can kind of an interesting test. So make like I don't know, you probably have to get it pretty big, like 100 box, and make it so tall or whatever. Linear advance, you can set that with your M900 command, or in Marlin, or if you're using some other flavor, but Marlin M900, you can set that to scale up. So in your G code, build it so you're scaling up. So start at 0, and then depending on what extruder you have, if you've got like if you've got a direct drive setup or something, don't go past like a 0.8 or something like that. But start ratcheting it up all through that print. Print 2 walls, but make the seam, set the seam to the back of the print. So if you set it towards the back, it's more than likely going to line them all up in the same one after another. So as you go up and the linear advance gets higher, you would start, because there's only a couple of walls, you will probably start seeing gaps in the seam. So no linear advance at the bottom, you would see a bubble. It's going to be a bump on the seam. As you go up, that seam will flatten, and then eventually it will be a gap. That's another interesting way to look at the effects of linear advance and see where your butter zone might be. You want it as smooth as possible, basically. But if you use Prusa Slicer or even Simplify 3D, you can build all of that into one print and just watch it. So really don't worry so much about speed. You can after you get your linear advance tuned at whatever speed, maybe tune it at 60. Don't worry so much about that. You should be able to use it at 80 from there, no problem. Biqu is the parent company of Big Tree Tech. Gary, issues with the 3.5v3 live adjustments while printing the screen flash strange values and then locks up causing failed print.
Thanks from Brazil by MKS1 for Turbo Tutorial.
Cristano, thank you very much for the 20. That is much appreciated. I'm glad that tutorial helped you. Gary, I don't have any advice on the screen causing you issues. All I can tell you is there are some newer versions of firmware available for that, and I think that firmware gets stronger all the time. So maybe give upgrading a try. I hope it's not a flaw, a hardware flaw with the screen. But all I can really offer you on that is maybe there's a bug in the firmware. Give it a shot. Hey, you bet. Any knowledge that I gain, I'm happy to hand off to anyone else. I will take the extruder part apart in the future. That seems to be a very common ask. We will take a look at it. Oh, there you go, Bryce Swartzeller. Thank you very much for throwing that in. It could be a bad SD card. That's a great point. Maybe you're hitting a bad sector or something during a print. Could be. Feels weird doing these streams without coffee. I guess I'm gonna have to start drinking coffee late at night. What time is it anyway? How long have we been doing this? Oh, we only been going 2 hours. We're all right. You ordered a second extruder just to pull it apart. Good on you. Yeah, got to switch to beer. The extruder, I would agree with that. It's not quite as hefty, but it does have that feel. Hammer of Doom. So far, the best username I've seen. So how are we doing? You want to take a little closer look at this? So you can stop looking at me for a second. So we really smashed the first layer. Now that is going to have some impact on your other layers. Don't get me wrong. But I didn't want to fool around with it anymore. I wanted it to succeed. And we can continue on with our stream. So there are some over extrusion-ish problems in there. Now the infill doesn't look too bad. You can, like, up there in the front, where's the pokey tool? Up there in the front where you can see the sides of the wall, that don't look so bad. And a lot of times with over extrusion, you'll get the tops, bottoms, and sides to differ greatly. So it's doing an adequate job in some areas. These are a bit flat, but again, the first 2 layers were smushed. So we might still feel some impact of that. Hamrice Larry, you didn't lose the title. Hammer of Doom is the best one I've seen today. I didn't see you yet. Hamrice Larry is in the running for all time. Liquidy-ish. It might be a little bit, what I like to use soupy. It might be just a little snotty there. Maybe we need a PID tune. It is pretty hot. You know, when not all extruders are treated the same. Let's just for fun, let's jump down to 205 and see how we do. Cool it off just a bit. It does have a sock on it, so it's going to transition a little bit differently than if it did not. But all extruders have to be tuned. Hamrice Larry is great. "3D printing has all kinds of fun terms that we can turn into other things. I like to invent a lot of the words. And then I like to see who's using those words. That makes me feel good inside. I will do a follow-up on this one. And before everybody starts getting their Kickstarter printers, we'll do a quick revisit on this guy, just to make sure everybody's all set. How's the part cooling fan feel? Breezy. It's kind of one of the, so it's the extremely squished version that you see on a lot of the machines. A lot of the Creality machines and such have that. It's not a lot of output. I'm just going to say that. It's probably, if you get your filament and your slicer tuned in, it's probably fine, but it's not a ton of air. It's a little oozy. Again, this retraction, we might have some stringing because this retraction is set very low. See if we can get it to straighten up just a bit more. Still tapping on things. Yeah, that top layer looks pretty good. I agree. You can't really see the overhang. It's not as even. You'll get to see it a little later. It's not, you can kind of tell from the side, it's not as even down in that bad part that we usually see as it could be. That's probably all cooling. But again, tuning and your slicer settings will vary. New surface fill algorithm. That's the one though in the really new one, right? Um oh, you can get out there now and grab it, but you have to compile it yourself. So I have not done that. I don't know what they call that. Super slicer. I like that name. Pre-alpha. Gotcha. Uh, these have a standard 0.4 nozzle. I've got a spare here. Yes, it's a 0.4. Absolutely, Ben. I will also wait for the stable release. I usually don't mess around with that too much. Um, Slicing is not something that I really enjoy tuning. I mean, it's okay. But once I have profiles, I make very fine adjustments, and then that's it. Monotonic. There you go. There's a very precise answer for what size nozzle those are. Good on you, BQ. Thank you. How impressed thus far? Well, we had some issues. So remember, again, this is a Kickstarter. I am not going to get the same printer that you guys get. I'm sure it will be more than improved by the time they ship. There were a few things. BQ did tell me that there were a few things different on this one than than would be the ones that the backers get. So we were aware of that. We had a few problems, but as far as print quality, we're doing okay. We're going to need some slicer tweaking and a few things here and there, but it's doing all right. Almost bedtime. Speed it up. I hear you. I'm gonna take a nap while it finishes. Is that cool? How am I achieving this view? This is a. I've said this before. What is it? It's a Sony AX53, I think AX53, something like that. It's a you know low mid grade handy cam, and that's what we've been using for the print cam for a while, and it does a pretty good job. No nap for me. Reducing the flow for a bit. We could probably do that. Let's see what kind of settings we have on here. How about 95%? Part fan is full blast. How do I have it connected? It is through CamLink. definitely going to need just a bit more retraction. Probably need a quick step tune as well. The temperature seems to hold pretty solid, so that's good. I would have to get it get a graph going or something to tell you for sure, but from what the screen says, it's not bad. I love watching the layers go down. Building something out of nothing. Tony, I will give it a shot. I will do what I can. When are we shipping? When does the Kickstarter? I haven't really looked at the Kickstarter that close, so I apologize. When are we supposed to be shipping for the Kickstarter? I can't review it by, like if it's a month out. I can't review it in that amount of time. But I can do somewhat of an overview. 13 days left. Whew, that's going to be a little bit hard to do. I might be able to do it. I'll give it a shot. Let's see, what's today? How hard would it be to get me on to get that on the schedule? I don't even know where my phone is. I'm not sure I brought my phone down here. Maybe I didn't. So, maybe. I might be able to do it. 13 sleeps. That's a super common thing too on the Benchy that a lot of people. I mean, uh, after you see that and you hold the Benchy in your hand, then you're gonna notice those forever. A lot of people wouldn't even realize it. We went down quite a few degrees and we did decrease the flow, so the over extrusion has definitely slowed down. But we can. Those are just quick things on the fly that you can do. But most of all of this can be corrected slicer wise. And Keith's going to get us a super awesome firmware for all the people that backed it. So he'll have all this worked out by then, I'm sure. The second most frustrating minigame. Absolutely. How hard is it to get into testing and reviewing machines? Well, back when I started doing it a couple of years ago, it was really easy. People would just say, "Hey, do you want one of these?" And you go, "Okay." Um, Now I couldn't tell you. Some of the newer there are newer YouTubers on in this chat. I guess that's a question for you. How is the market right now? How are companies about giving out review machines um, with maybe not the highest turnaround for revenue? Because I mean, I think that's a really smart thing to do personally. I think the companies should, if you have any exposure, the more people that have exposure with it, uh, the better the better wealth of information you're going to have to be able to make a decision. So if 100 people have it, and there's YouTubers that are making a lot of money on it, they might not say this isn't so good. The YouTubers that aren't making a lot of money on it might be a little more truthful about things. I'm not saying that they lie to you. I'm just saying that some people, this is their living, so they have to be a little more straightforward than some people don't have to be as straightforward as others do. So I don't know what the market is right at the moment. Love the guys on Octopi and Octoscreens. Thank you. Yep, see? Keith's all over it. He's got this. I never, and that's the thing. I never asked. Uh, I never asked any companies. They just, uh, in fact, I think the first company that got a hold of me about a printer was through Thingiverse links, parts that I created. They got a hold of me that way. It wasn't even through YouTube. You need 100,000 subs. That is not true. I have, how many subs do I have? 37,000? You just have to have content. Well, Jay, they listened because they definitely got a hold of me about this one. So, and I tried to get to it as soon as I could. They were very concerned that um, I wouldn't be able to get, because a lot of these I can't get to it right away, but this one kind of fit in the schedule, and I don't have a lot. I stopped accepting new machines about 2 months ago, so my backlog has gotten rather short. So this one came in at good timing, so we were able to do it. Too many extra 10,000. 10,000 might be a good number. Travis, you just got to get in there and do it. Unfortunately, it's sometimes it's a battle being comfortable with being on camera and talking and things like that. But just if you want to do it, you got to get in there and get it done. There's really no other way to do it. You have to bite your tongue, go back to Marlin and do reviews. That hurt. Uh, yeah. So the famous Benchy line. You can work your way around that. Minimum layer time is a great setting to look at to start to get around that. Um, if you go layer by layer, I think I have a video out there that we actually do this. But if you go layer by layer and see where that is, and try to take some guesses on what's causing it, you can do it. You can get your way out of that, but it is pretty tricky in the spot that it is on the Benchy. Dave Randolph doesn't even get free printers. Octolabs videos are a great place to start. Everybody in the chat is so nice. I appreciate all of you. I'm glad you like the content. I do it just for you. How do I feel about this brand of printer? Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think BQ only has 2 machines, right? They only have 2 printers. Well, BQ as a parent company might have more than that, but I only know of 2. Um, they're so there are some features on them that I like versus some of the other designs. For instance, they go with 2 smaller extrusions. Here, you want to let's back up a bit and have a chat about it. Extreme zoom. So there's some things about the design that I like, and they're not unique to BQ, but they're kind of bringing in other ideas that were on other printers, which now you don't see on the aluminum style Ender 3-ish printers. And one of those is the 220s instead of having the 12040 or the 14040. They're using 2, which I like to see that because that way you actually have the wheels being somewhat independent on their own rail. Now they do have to cross that rail, those 2 rails, but they're bolted down to the frame back here on a solid piece. So as long as they're straight, all the holes are correct, I like that design just a little bit better. Now everything else is, I mean, you get the same 4040s for the feet here, down the center as well as on a lot of these other printers, and the same 2040s on the gantry, and on you get a 2020 on top, which is pretty common. Again, the X, they have tensioners and things like that, but a lot of this other stuff is very common. Now, I don't remember exactly on the B1. This one does have 2 lead screws, which was kind of a bump for other things. Of course, you get your fancy screen on this one. But this one, the BQ ones have a little bit more flash to them than some of the Ender models do. You get covers and things like that. So, I think they're okay. I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with them yet, so I can't tell you for sure. I really haven't. I don't even have enough data on the B1 or the B1 yet to give you some confidence in a review. But so far they're decent. Well, that's right. BQ had deltas. Now I remember they had. I remember the deltas that they had. But these are the only 2 that I have experience with. You got content on a regular basis. And live streams are fun. If there's any advice that I can give to you all that are wanting to get on YouTube, live streams are fun. Interviews are fun. That's great stuff to have on your channel. But when you do some sort of review, or reviews are pretty good. They're better than the live content. But really what gets your catalog going is reference material. If you can help somebody out, you know a little tip, or you ran into a problem that you can show somebody how to fix, people will keep coming back to that video over and over and over when they run into that problem. So if you're getting into it, go for that. Try to find little things, especially 3D printing, especially. There's always some little thing that you figured out that people probably need to know. Even if somebody has done the video on it 10 times, there's 10 videos showing that same tip, maybe somebody's going to go to yours instead of others. So if you're building a channel, get some reference stuff out there. You don't have to do it all the time, but get a couple going so that gets you people to the channel and it gets people coming back. Walter's sassing me about something. What do you say? About time I built a printer. Well, that's not about right. What's up, Walter? Have I ever thought about building? You know what? I have all the parts for a Voron Zero, and and I have not had any time to build one. I'm going to. I promise. We might do some how to upgrades and things like this on this one. I don't do a lot of upgrade stuff because I like to keep them kind of stock in case people have problems with them down the line. But maybe we will. How-tos for sure. Old curmudgeon says it the best, right there. I have that same problem sometimes, and testing is not easy. Uh, he says his problem is figuring out what he did to fix the problem that he had. He can't recreate it. I run into that. Um, there's a lot of problems that people say, "Hey, I've got this," and I will say to them, "Man, I had that once, but I cannot remember what I did to fix it." and it's so true. Because sometimes it's like, okay, I'm done with this for the day. And then you come back the next day and you can't recreate the problem anymore. It's just one little thing that happened that solved it. And now I don't remember what it is or know what it is. It just happened. Watch a Chris Riley video and make your own copy. It's not a bad way to go. Um, I would be lying. I could honestly, I couldn't tell you who it was, but I would be lying if people didn't do pretty well doing that. So I have a go. It's cool. Name not given. Long time listener, first time caller. Well, I appreciate you coming to the stream and having you here. Thanks for coming. What kind of camera is given the close up? Walter, I believe it is a Sony AX53 is what it's called. I believe that's the number on it. It's one of those handy cams. The retraction speed setting, I believe, is 35 on this one. When is the next i3 Pro B video plan to be out? It's going to be out. I actually have a schedule now. Believe it or not, it will be out. I want to say. I just looked at that. I had to pull it back up. I want to say it's scheduled for the last or the third week in November. So not too long. A couple more weeks. This is probably the best add to this camera has probably been the best add to our live stream so far. It is really nice and clear. The Pixies fixed it. Dragon Lizard, time for YouTube is the biggest problem. It takes a lot of time to do this stuff. Have I ever had somebody get upset when I did content like theirs? And how did I handle it? I have. Nobody has ever personally came to me and said, "Hey, you need to stop doing content like I do," or "You're copying my content." There might be people out there that feel that way, but honestly, 100%, I don't copy anybody's content. I purposely don't watch how-to content so that I can give you my view on how it worked and how it was fixed. I'm not always correct. Some things I don't quite understand, and you will see that in the videos. Sometimes I missed it. Maybe I didn't get it quite right. But the point is I'm showing you as I learned it, and then maybe we will fix that together. I purposely avoid the content so I'm more fresh into the situation, so I can give you a better view of how I learned it. So I've never had anybody approach me on that topic. If there are people that feel that way, I'm sorry. But I did not try to do that. Great, but not. Yeah. We can, if you want to still see the, we need two shots. We need two zoom shots. You want to actually look at the printer for a moment? I would much rather have it this way, though, so that you're not so much in that light. We can take another look at the Benchy in a moment. But that is the Biqu BX. The FT6 alive and well. The FT6 is currently a table. It has 2 to 3 printers on top of it. I broke the extruder down, and I was getting really bad heat creep. And you know, it's 350 by 7 something. And anything you do on that, right, you're going to want a long-winded print. So when I go starting to get heat creep, and I don't know, I might have had a fan problem or something. I'm not exactly sure what it was. But I started to fix it, got fed up with it, and then I started stacking things on it. So that is the current condition of the FT6. I would like to have it working, but it's on a very long list of things to do. For someone starting in 3D printing, we've discussed this, and we discussed it quite often. But it kind of depends on where you live. You know, my international choices are always Filament or Filamentum, and then stuff here in the U.S. I always buy. There's so many good ones, but I'm partial to Printed Solids Jesse PLA. They have lots of different colors, and it's very affordable. So those are my choices. But there's a lot of good ones out there. If you copy Chris's YouTube videos and don't go insane doing it, then you deserve the reward. Yeah, some of them I would say that's absolutely correct. If you didn't break everything in the room by the time you're done, yeah, I think he's talking about the comparison between. Could we compare between the Hemera and this extruder? We could do that. I will include a side by side on that. The screen is huge. Yes, that's a 7. I definitely want to do like a Raspberry Pi setup video and stuff as well. We'll do that because I think that's a neat feature. How many incite it? I don't think there's any inside it right now. I think there's like 5 spools of filament in there, though. You could host movie night with that. We'll see you later, Walter. Sleep well. What's up with the fire sign again? Somebody asked me this again. You see this in the background. It's getting kind of curly from the humidity. I was just watching this the other day. But people talk about it on in the comments saying, "You got fired?" I'm like, yeah, every day I come down here, I'm fired. But yeah, it's Back to the Future. And it's a long story, but hey, Scott Latine is here. What's up, Scott? Smaller to fit the screen. They need to be a little. They look kind of small. They need to be a lot bigger. Honestly, now, no offense to Scott or anybody that worked on this interface. I appreciate it 100%. It looks great. But I really liked just the green blocky text on the screen. That really kind of did it for me. Does it use the PIO? I don't believe it does. I believe it uses just the USB connection. It has a power. It has power, HDMI, and I believe it connects USB. A bit off-putting to watch. Yeah, I don't enjoy that kind of content. Back to the Future. Sorry, let me get back to that. So, you shouldn't have agreed to go with Needles. Absolutely, that was my downfall. Needles is also cool because it's Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anywho, so Back to the Future. It's Back to the Future 2, and so Needles convinces the future Marty McFly to do some shady business deal, and he calls him Chicken, of course, and he has to put his card in the machine, and then all of a sudden, his boss was monitoring the transmission, and he jumps onto the video screen and fires him, and then every printer, that's how you get transmissions in the future, is you have heat-sensitive paper printers all over the house, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's what came out on every printer in the house all simultaneously, was "You're fired." And I was actually fixing a heat-sensitive printer for somebody down here one day, and I wanted to test it, and the first thing I thought of was, "You're fired," because it looked, the paper and the test look exactly like that. And I mean, the printer was like this big, and this high, real flat. And so that's what I did, and it has been there for years. We got to show that. Exactly. Who's going to eat all that? I am. TFT Classic UI for future reference. Thank you, sir. We can zoom back on the Benchy. We'll take a look at it again before the stream is over. The print is what matters, right? The only problem with that, when you get zoomed in, it has kind of it's got like a gyroscope that goes on. See, the stringing is real nice, and that's probably because of the adjustments we made. So that's good. But that camera has kind of a gyroscope on the lens, so it likes to float after you put it in position. We're doing good. Doing good. Is the HDMI cable getting warm? It is nice and cool. The 2015 hat? Yeah, it cracks me up. Now the Cubs didn't win. We won. Kansas City won in 15, right? The Cubs didn't win till 16, I believe. That is correct. So we missed it. We missed Back to the Future time by a year. Over the years we've probably talked about Back to the Future more on this channel than we have 3D printing. I have never built the DVD drive printer. My man Luke, he has one that he did an awesome job on. Speaking of Luke, you really need to check out. Oh, he doesn't have a video on it. You should go subscribe to Luke. I will get you a link because he's gonna have a video on it. I know he is. I keep telling him that he needs to. I know he's a very busy young man. I believe he's still in college. I keep telling him he needs to make some more content because I can get people to watch it because he does some really cool stuff. I wish I did stuff like Luke does. And I'm probably 25 years older than he is. I know I got his channel somewhere. Hold on. Making with Luke. So go check out Luke's channel and subscribe to him because if you do, eventually hold on. Hold on a second. Where is it? Oh, wait. I think I know where it is. I have a hard time finding things on Twitter. It's a vast minefield of stuff. So check this out. I don't know if the people that don't have Twitter can see that or not, but Luke has handmade an SLS machine. And when it's an open source project that he did, and when he gets the video out on his channel, you're gonna want to see it because bravo to that guy. Claps for Luke. Claps for Luke because that's amazing. Record time for printing a Banshee that actually resembles it. I got down to 19 minutes, and honestly, it didn't look terrible. I need to dig some. I don't know if I still have any of those. I'll dig my G code out. I still have it somewhere. I got down to 19, and they looked okay. They were pretty thin, but and that's PLA. You understand, of course. They were pretty thin, but I did get it down somewhat low. I think I could go lower, but it's really going to start to diminish after that. Ooh, Panda Pie support. I still want to try one of those out. There's just not enough time for everything. Yes, Luke did a segment at Verf last weekend. If you can find that, I'm not exactly sure. Are the guys at Verf? I need to talk to Pulaski or somebody. Are they planning on like cutting that up and making it available, or was that just kind of like an in? You had to, be there or be square on all that stuff? Because I realized the live streams were really long, and that'd probably be a really daunting task. But some of those segments would be awesome to have, just to watch them. Juan, thank you very much for the sub. No, it has a part cooling fan. It's directly in the back. Bird Air part cooling. I've thought about that a lot. I have never used one. My man Mitch 3D swears by them, especially for the backpack stuff. But no, I have never thought about getting one to do a review. That might not be a bad idea, though. Hot into stationary, and the bed does all the movement. I've never seen one move left and right. I don't think. So we can get everything done. That's what we need. Gary said later. If you're leaving us, Gary, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. So all the Verve stuff is up for replay. Okay, well then I'll have to go check it out. About half the time. Well, I mean, I'll have to get you some pictures of the 19-minute ones. They're not. I've probably had printers that would do worse. They're not terrible, but it's still 19 minutes. Brian made the stream. Thanks for coming, Brian. The loudness of the fan. So actually, the hot-end fan and the part fan are very quiet, but there's definitely a case fan down there that has some ringing to it. I'm not sure where it is. I don't know if that's the power supply fan or if there's one on the board. If it wasn't running, I'd flip it over. The tool fans, though, are very quiet and don't seem to be kicking out, tremendous amounts of air, so that probably adds to them. But it's not a really loud machine. There's definitely a case fan in there that resonates a bit, though. Silent steppers and silent fans. That would be amazing. Red Light Mike is here. What's up, Mike? I did not use the Octoprint adapter this time. Like Kickstarter, don't Kickstarter. I am not to that conclusion yet. Again, the printer that this printer that we're using is not going to be the ones that the backers get. It might be a little bit more fast and loose than the final version, especially when the firmware is concerned. So It's not bad, but more content to come on that. Hopefully before the Kickstarter ends, or when things start to ship. Are they good fans? I couldn't tell you that at the moment. Chat's starting to go by faster and faster. Not seeing it on Twitter. I will repost that. I've already I can't because I've already retweeted it once. I don't know if this, like I say, see if that gets you what you need, Bryce. See if you can follow that link I just posted. The Mean Wolf fans are very loud, Keith points out. That is true. And that's probably what you're hearing. I'm still going. This hasn't really been a long stream at all. We're not even 3 hours in yet. On S42B, yes. I don't know if they're 20. No, I do. They have to be 22. They either have to be 2130s or 2209s, which I'm guessing they're 2209s, because it does have centralist homing for X and Y. How well these do without the closing of open loop. Yeah. I requested a set of those closed loop stepper boards and never received them. Oh, so they're 2226s. So there you go. You bet, Bryce. Russ, I'm not sure. Zach, I don't know exactly about the extra extruder and HDMI board. It might have more info on the Kickstarter. Russ, I'm not sure. The Kickstarter information is in the description. And the opening of the closed loops. 580 backers. There you go. Dan backed it. Awesome. May all loops be open to you. Except your for loop. You don't want to leave your for loop open. "1940s Bridgeport Mill." There you go. I've forgotten some of my subs. 9TDF. Thank you. Dan, thank you. And Gary, thank you for the subs. It probably has come loose. What if it's getting close? It might fall into the middle of the print by the time we're done. I gotta iron that out. That's gonna bother me until that gets fixed. Thinky Head Software. I happen to know them. They're amazing. Thank you for the sub. I sliced it in Prusa Slicer. Keith, while we're sitting here, you say 2226 is a 2209. What is the other one? Isn't there like a 2225? Is that a 2208 in a different package? Do you know? There is only one Z switch. It is on the right side. You're willing them to stay aligned. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Keith. So if you see a 2225, that's a 2208. That's absolutely true, Andrew. So nice. They said it twice. I just talk to myself a lot. I watch Benchies constantly and talk to myself about 3D printing because nobody else wants to hear it. D, you got to get on it. Print a Benchy. And I like that you ended it in I. With less fumes. Paul's 5 layers behind me. Bennett 3D Maker Kit is here. It is directly behind it, Bennett. Daniel just hopped on. It's not bad. It's not bad. Less features. Gotcha. It's not bad so far. Really, I mean, we've had some issues. Again, this is probably not a prime time unit. After a few tweaks, we're doing okay. Doing okay. With a few simple things, and we got to figure out this screen. But with a few simple things, we can make it better. But hopefully, all of this information that we're gathering here right now, BQ is in the chat. They will take it and they will fix up your printer before it gets to you. I feel like everything should have linear advance now. It probably should have. Because it's kind of common to the platform you're using it on, right? If you have a good setting for PLA and a good setting for PETG, the problem is some of these don't come with really well-defined slicer profiles. So there is that. But linear advance is a very nice feature to use. It helps. Excellent. Thank you, Paul, for tweeting me photos. Yes, they did say they were using a different screen in production. But again, we started out kind of rocky. But after a few tweaks, the print quality looks pretty fair. I mean, it's not the best one I've ever seen, but it looks okay. Overhangs from curling up. Sean, the biggest things that you can do is more part cooling, lower temperatures. What else can you do? Reduced flow rate might help. Look at auto cooling. Make sure you are, if you're printing small perimeters or something like that, that you're spending enough time on that layer to allow it to cool properly. Those are about the best ones I can offer you. Would have been even nicer if it had linear rails. Well, linear rails is kind of going a little far for an i3, in my personal opinion. Yeah, let's say you can just see this in the background. I adjusted the Penda probe to get it out of the way. But it's kind of a game now. Will the benchy finish or the bottom nut fall off of it first? I think the benchy will win though. I think we're good. The V-rollers can be a little bit hard to adjust. That's a good question. I am going to say no, that it does not have temperature compensation. Because it looks like a whole lot of other probes that I'm used to. I don't think it probably does. What is my favorite and least favorite feature so far? Unfortunately, my two favorite features are a giant 7-inch screen and the fact that it has an inductive probe. And those are the two things that I didn't get to try out because leveling wasn't playing well and the screen wasn't playing well. So that's kind of a bummer. You know, the only thing this printer doesn't have that I would expect to see is filament runout. I'm kind of surprised it doesn't have a filament runout sensor. I could not get it to baby step the first layer on the fly. I couldn't get the Z offset to correct it. So I decided to go in manual mode just so that we can get a print done. Any red flags? I wouldn't say there was any red flags. I don't know about. I haven't opened it up. I don't know about grounding or anything like that. That is true, Scott. It is practically free to add. Bridging was very nice. Yes, it was. I agree. If you can reflash, of course. That is true. That is a tiny, cute little stepper. What do you figure that is? A 15? It's a 13, I think. Yeah, I kind of want to add the pie to this just to see how it goes. The stepper hot? It's a little warm. I mean, I can hold my finger on it for an extended amount of time. It's not that hot. It's a little warm. It's a 14. I never remember what the jumps are. Because you got 17 and then 23, and I never remember what the lower one is. Llama loops. Why do printers need to be tuned so much? Why can't they print perfectly out of the box? Well, that's a fair question. The biggest reason for that is there's no consistency across the whole environment. Meaning, end to end, you have to have things just so dedicated for a certain machine. So take this machine, for example. They would have to get the filament as consistent as possible, which you can buy consistent filament, don't get me wrong. But if you were manufacturing a printer, the best thing to do would be to make extremely consistent filament. Then you would have tested all of your filament on your machine, and then you would just know it worked. And then you could say, well, and then if as a company, you could turn on you and go, well, you weren't using my filament. So there's one thing you could do. And then it comes down to slicing. These companies don't make the slicer usually. They don't develop the slicer. Sometimes they don't even offer you a profile for Cura or for open source slicer. And printer to printer, a lot of stuff is going to be exactly the same. There's not, and as we get more and more evolved in this, things get closer and closer. There are a lot of good printers out there for around 200 bucks nowadays. So there's that. So because the hardware is so close, it's going to come down to the slicer settings. And if they don't have, at least have a profile, or better yet, develop a version of a slicer, then things aren't going to be very consistent. And that's why you're not going to get them out of the box printing well. It's going to take some tuning. Also, I mean, some of manufacturers, the hardware just isn't that consistent. But you have to consider some of the price points as well. So there's a lot of factors to that, but 3D printers are just not, it's not a toaster yet. I've said that a few times, but it's not the toaster. Maybe someday it will be. Did we go focus? There you go. Because I did this. Did a pretty good job on the bridge. So the part cooling isn't all bad. Plus, there's really no strings, but we did cool it down quite a bit. They'll get you every time. I know exactly what you mean. How did it do that? I use Prusa Slicer for everything, this included. I do venture off into Cura and Idea Maker and occasionally Kiss Slicer, so once in a while just to try a few things out. But my testing and things like that are usually built around Prusa Slicer profiles. He puts that Prusa on everything. No Sleeper Slicer yet. I'm sure eventually we will convert over to that. What is the new hot calibration object for 2021? Well, there for a while I was trying to get people to go to Sir Layers a lot because he has some pretty interesting features, but it's on a standard profile, it's around a 4.5 hour print. But he has all the right stuff to test. 2021, I don't know. Cali Cat was popular there for a little bit. Yes, I will post my profile when I get it tweaked. No problem. I will stick it on the next video we do on this. I will have a profile for it. Sunshine's 3-cylinder motor. That dude is kind of hard to print. If you haven't tried it, go try one of those 3-cylinder motors. Those things are quite difficult. And maybe can also be useful. Yeah, Michael over at Teaching Tech was talking about maybe like having some sort of test that was like Lego, so you could build bigger things out of multiple tests. The only problem is the tests would have to be very close to one another to be able to fit them together. So maybe a fine-tuning test would work. I don't know, but the more it moves, the less it likes to focus. But I would be all for that if we could figure it out. Something quicker. Because the benchies are great and all, but it's pretty easy to spend 2 hours printing one. Excellent. You have a Prusa. I just checked Twitter, my feed. You have a Prusa mini benchy though. That's not fair. It's probably going to look amazing. Have I considered creating a Discord server? I have considered it. I'm not sure what I would do with it. I don't know that I have any more time to dedicate to anything else. I have a hard time keeping up with anything now. Plus, I'm not really sure how Discord works. I've only been on them a couple of times. Nah. I need some sort of background to keep it from doing that. You're probably right. There you go. I know there's a lot of Discord servers, and that's another thing too. There's a lot of Discord servers around. I do belong to the Marlin one, and I think a couple of others too. I don't remember. But do we really need me to create one? And we need another Discord server out there? I don't know. New Gen Community Forum. All right. Uh, Speaking of forums, remember TeamSpeak? Yeah, I do remember that. Speaking of forums, I want to give a shout out to all the guys and girls over at the Duet forum because, I think we talked about this in the last live stream. I don't remember because it seems like I talk about 3D printing, 24/7. Imagine that. Um, they have been super helpful, and it's not been just the regular old did you level your bed or did you try this? Did you try that? They're actually a lot. They when we're talking about issues, going over things, they provide a lot of in-depth stuff that they've seen before, and you know ideas behind the engineering of the kinematics of the machine, and what could cause this, and if something was off, it might be this and that. They've been really good, and they're very responsive. A lot of people over there really like 3D printing and want to help out. So props to all those people over there. It's great just to have the conversation. I've been enjoying it because I've been over there for the last couple of weeks talking about Duet Wi-Fi. So good on them. Absolutely. There's a lot of great info over there on those forums. Tom's 3Ds forum, yes. I used to try to help out over there. Unfortunately, I have some posts and stuff and some info on log and things like that over there. But I have not been over there in a while just because I haven't had any time. Change the hot end fluid. We don't really want to be admins all day, and that's the absolute truth. I can't administer one more thing. Now you know how a Banshee's put together, layer by layer, with care and love. Would I ever make a printer from scratch? Um, I feel that I am too steeped, let's say steeped, too steeped in too many different printer designs to make a unique decision about a 3D printer. Does that make sense? Um, I think I would, no matter what I did, I couldn't be unique enough to say that I built it from scratch. It would more than likely be a copy of something else. So I could probably build one from scratch that was unique, but it probably wouldn't be any good. I would just be doing it to try to be unique. I'd be more than happy to build one from scratch. Like give me a design, and I will build you a printer from scratch without the use of a manual or something. Sure, cutting the metal or doing it actually from scratch. That's not a problem. But now, like doing a delta like that from scratch is a bit of a challenge. I would have to do some math in that case, but I don't. I think I'm too. I think I'm too jaded by all the other 3D printer designs to come up with something unique. These are the same as BQ was on here and said, but I think it's a 6. It's the same as E3D. It's a 6mm thread. And now that probably knocked the camera out of focus. Nope, we're doing okay. GBA's got enough on their plates, absolutely. And not with a duet. Right on. It's going out of focus. Oh, it gave me some beeps. Please show part fan cooling duct. I will. Just for you. Just for you. I don't want to make you sick here. But I'm going to. This thing really isn't tall enough to show that. I will show it in a moment. How about that? Let's go back to this for a second. And it's going to be hot, but you see how easy that came off and all that squish that I had? That's what I was trying to avoid. It's definitely got squish. You can see where we did the temp change. Paul T, thank you very much for the sub. You can definitely see where we did the temp change, which is going to be, I don't know if that's new to some folks or not, but we're going to take a look at it. Let's see. How can I get you a shot of what that part fan looks like? I don't know if you can see it there or not. It's going to focus in on the wrench. Come on, you can do it. Focus. Oh, there you go. Here you go. There's your part fan. Right there. So it's directly in the back. And it has one of those flat squirrel cage fans on it. What is it? Is it a 10? I think they're 10 wide, 10 deep. So there's that. So now, it is benchy time. The benchy has been completed. We will look at said benchy. So let's back out a little here. So you can definitely see where we did the temperature change, yeah? It's much shinier down there. You can see where we had whole lots of squish on the bottom. You can see, hold on, we need a better tool than this. You can see a little bit of ghosting in here. We were running at a pretty slow speed, so it's not real bad. Some of the layers are a bit uneven, but I'm going to blame that on extrusion consistency. That can definitely be tuned in. I'm going to tune the extruder and all that good stuff, get us a good valid E-step. The overhang, a little bit messy. That's probably mostly because of part cooling. It did get just a little bit better after we cooled the filament down. So I definitely think we need a temp tune. A few more inconsistent layers. You can see a little bit of that down in here, a little bit more of that ghosting, a little bit of artifacting. There's some of the, that's actually layer change. Top don't look too bad. Got a few places where it dwelled. But most of this, I mean, this isn't machine inconsistency, really. This is all extrusion. It would be much more exaggerated if it was, you know, a belt or something like that. Filament looks good, yeah. Printed solid. Every time you buy a spool of filament, Dave sends me one single cookie. Last time it was an Oreo. Not bad. Fridge looks good. Our temp change definitely helped us out, for sure. There you go. That is the Biqu BX. We have some work to do. We do. We're going to get it tuned. Me and Biqu are going to figure out what's going on with this screen. Somebody said I had 13 sleeps to get it before they started shipping to do a video. I will do my best to get you a rundown of what you're going to get when you back this thing. I'll try. We got some tuning. So we got to check temps. Keith is working on some awesome firmware for all the backers, so don't worry about that. That'll all be figured out before you get yours. And we got to figure out that leveling probe. But I'll make an attempt on that. And you want to see a comparison in between this one, this extruder, what's in it, and the Hemera. We can do that. He licked the Oreo before he sent it too. Jeez, Dave. I won't tell you what he told me about before he seals up the filament. What happens? It's not good. Okay. Dave spelled the Oreo. Watermelon airhead. Ooh, yes. I don't remember what I got in the last one. I think it was an airhead though. I don't remember. Okay, there we go. That's it. That is the Biqu BX, the live stream. We will get more content out on this, I promise. I will try to do it as soon as I can. Thank you for everyone that joined the stream. I know this was an evening stream this time. That's a little different for me. I'm going to be back on Saturday with another build. I won't tell you what it is quite yet, because it is kind of interesting. So join me then. Thank you for everybody that did Super Chat tips. I much appreciate that. That really helps us out. And just for all of you that hung out. And the moderators. I always forget to thank the moderators. Thank you all for that. You always help. We will see you very soon. Take care. Tomorrow is Friday for all of us in the US. For a lot of you, it's already Friday. So happy Friday. There is another $5 from Paul McDonald coming in at the last minute. I appreciate it. We'll see you very, very soon. Promise. Take care.